Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Home Herbal Remedies. I'm going to show you how to make what I think is the most powerful home remedy for colds and flu, fire cider. So coming up, I'm going to be showing you the ingredients that we need, the equipment, and a step-by-step process for making this very simple but very powerful home herbal remedy. But quickly, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. So what do we have here? Let's look at our ingredients. All organic, by the way. First of all, we're going to start with chilies. Very hot, as you know, and we've chosen the hottest that we can find, so you may have to look around for those, but just, go into a grocer's shop, ask what's available. The smaller they are, the better they tend to be. Now, the heat of the chili really helps us when we've got a cold or a flu. It heats us up, and a cold is cold. And actually, even we've got a flu and we're sweating, this will push the sweat out even faster. It'll break the fever and get everything moving nicely. It's a very, very good natural stimulant. Also, of course, loaded with vitamin C. Next we have garlic, well-known immune protective herb. Kills just about anything that's out there. Viral, bacterial, fungal, you name it, garlic will deal with it. Next up, ginger. Ginger has been shown to have significant antiviral properties, so it's a really good protector. Sometimes, and this is something you can do with this remedy, we gargle with ginger to stop bugs that getting down the throat before they actually manage to gain access to our interior. Then we've got my special ingredient here, the horseradish. Can be a little bit difficult to find, but well worth it if you can. Very, very pungent herb. Most of you will know it for its use as a condiment with roast beef, but on that account, very, very pungent, gets the digestive juices flowing, but it's one of the best for clearing the upper respiratory passages, especially the sinuses. So it'll prevent that cold stuffiness that we get at the end, at the tail end of a cold or the flu. It thins down the catarrh and the fluids and enables us to get them out quickly. Last but not least, onion. Again, the hottest we can find. Traditional remedy for colds and flus. Very similar, same family to garlic, has many of the same properties. And on this side, we have, first of all, our organic cider vinegar with the mother. The best quality organic cider vinegar that we can get hold of. We're going to put all of that, when it's prepared, into this 1 litre Kilner jar. And we've got a grater here because some of these ingredients we're going to actually be grating to get the best out of them. So first up, we need to chop everything up to prepare it for our jar. So we'll start with the chilies. We don't have to chop them super fine, but they should be just cut down a little bit from what they are. We're going to put everything in, so if you've got a bit of green stalk there, it doesn't matter, we can put that in as well. We're not going to be eating any of this. We're going to be just drinking the tincture, really it is. I mean, we're using cider vinegar for this, but it is in fact a tincture of sorts. We've got about sort of a 10 to a dozen chilies, I guess, here. And what the idea is we want roughly equal quantities by volume of everything. That's the first layer going in there, the chilies. Now the garlic's going to take some doing. We've got to split it up first. Obviously take all the outer sheath off. And then we can just go for a little bit of a crushing strategy there. And then we'll chop that once it's all there. Now, one of the things about garlic is that it activates once you cut or chop or crush it, because there's a phytochemical in garlic that we call allein, and in the presence of an enzyme that's also contained within garlic, which is called allinase, allein is converted to the active principle in garlic, which is allicin. And allicin has been shown to be effective against a wide range of possible pathogens. Now, in natural medicine, we don't necessarily give the prominence to the pathogen that most people do. So it's not so much about the germ, so-called, that causes the cold as the status of your tissues. And the nice thing about these herbs is that we can call them antivirals, we can call them antibacterials, but what they actually do is to ramp up our own immune system through a variety of different functions, actually through promoting better digestion, through increasing circulation, and just really cleaning up the territory so that our immune systems can work as well as they need to. So a lot of this and more is taught on the CNM Herbal Medicine Diploma course, where we learn all about the phytochemicals particularly, and of course the theory of why we use them and what they actually do for us. It's a very, very interesting and very highly evolved kind of discussion that we can have once we know all there is to know about plants. We are enabled to talk about them in very functional ways, so we know exactly what all the ingredients we're using are going to be doing for us. Garlic is, of course, well known and well used antiseptic. It used to be used on battlefields in the First World War. Garlic powder was used for wound cleansing so that the wounds didn't get infected. Okay, so now all we have to do is chop this up. It can be very rough. It's already pretty broken up from the crushing. We don't have to do much to it. That's pretty much about all it needs. Pop that into our jar. And now we're ready for an onion or two. Now, of course, chopping onions comes with its own hazards, and I'm hoping I'm not going to start streaming too much here. Just want to get the outer skin off and then hopefully chop it fairly quickly to avoid too much grief. Because all of these ingredients have one thing in common: they're very, very pungent. White onions tend to be more so than red, and actually that looks like enough to me. We've just got one large onion in there. And next we'll take the ginger, and this we're actually going to grate, get as much out of it as we can. So literally just see how much we've got here. Probably not going to need all of this. Be careful with your fingers as you do this, obviously. You can break off the little bits that come out there and put them. All goes in the mix, all goes down the same way. And basically you can just chop up that last bit there as well. There we go. So lastly we come to the horseradish. I'm probably going to go for about half of that to start with, see what we get. Now be careful when grating horseradish. It's a very powerful smell. There's some powerful essential oils, volatile oils released in this process. And my advice is stand a little bit back. Don't. Volatile principles can come up and literally hit you in the face, and I knew one guy who managed to knock himself out with it. So I'm being a little bit careful about this, keeping a respectful distance. It's quite tough, this. It's quite woody in texture. Takes a little bit of doing. It's not like the ginger flesh is relatively soft comparatively. So we're aiming to just fill this jar to just under the full mark, so to speak. So we need a little bit more here. I can start to feel that coming and hitting my sinus cavities now. Be really careful at this point not to get a full face load of it. Nothing quite like it for clearing out the sinuses. I can feel my nose starting to discharge a little bit now. There we go, that'll do fine. And again, if you've got some left, just quickly chop it. It can all go into the mix. Eyes are starting to water now. But I think we're done. So that's all the chopping done. The herbs are in the jar. Just the final stage now, which is to add the cider vinegar. So now, very carefully, we're going to add the cider vinegar to the herbs. And what we want to do, as you can see it filling up as I do this, it's got to completely cover these herbs. So we're going to bring it up to within just short of the lip or the neck of the bottle. That's absolutely perfect. And then seal up. And I'm just going to give it a little shake. Hopefully this is sealed well enough. There we go. Just shake it around. Don't be afraid to just tip it upside down every which way. You'll be doing this at least once a day for at least 2 weeks. You can keep it in the jar for much longer than that. We've got batches that we did last year still sitting there, all the herbs in the jar, and we occasionally, if we feel we need some, and this isn't done yet, but I'm going to promise you that we can still taste the benefit of this. Anytime you need some, you can simply take the lid off and dispense yourself a little teaspoon. That's about half a teaspoon's worth there. And that's actually going to be quite powerful, even though it's only been in there a couple of minutes. Very pungent, very powerful. Imagine when that's actually steeped for at least 2 weeks. That's going to pack a real punch. People quite like this as a salad dressing too. If you like your salad dressings hot, then this is a good way to go. You know, we do this every autumn. It takes us through the winter into the spring. That's probably going to last you as long as you need it to. So there we have it, our super powerful ultimate herbal home remedy for colds and flu. And by the way, it's not just for when you're ill. This stuff can actually protect you so that you don't get ill in the first place. I was taught it as super tonic actually, and it's also known as plague formula. Plague's pretty heavy stuff, so that shows you how powerful it is. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you again on the next episode.